Behind the school, our boy Lee Sang-hyun is getting brutally beaten up by some local bullies. The ridiculous reason? His natural white hair. To hide his true identity as a powerful mage, our guy plays the role of a weak, poor student, silently enduring the bald thug's endless insults and kicks. Dragging his bruised body back to class, Sang-hyun casually apologizes to the teacher before heavily slumping onto his desk, exhausted. Seeing his miserable state, the class president, Bae Ji-hyun, immediately turns around to hand him some tissues, her eyes filled with deep concern. When Ji-hyun threatens to report the incident, Sang-hyun desperately laughs it off as a friendly spar, terrified that a teacher's involvement might blow his cover. Seeing his stubbornness, Ji-hyun reluctantly lets it go. But then, blushing deeply, she mysteriously invites him to a special place tonight. At 11 p.m., the two sneak to the entrance of a flashy Gangnam nightclub. The normally perfect class president looks around nervously. What exactly are they doing here? Night falls, and Club Crystal is absolutely bumping. While his classmate feels completely out of place, our boy Shang-xian is already dressed in his sharp waiter uniform, ready for his shift. Just working to make ends meet, our guy takes a quick breather. But his peaceful shift is immediately ruined when a group of bald school bullies swagger into the club right in front of him. Recognizing Shang-xian in his uniform, the bald thug doesn't miss the chance to act tough. He immediately starts throwing his weight around and aggressively grabs our boy by the collar. Without hesitation, the thug throws a vicious punch at his chest. However, this level of attack is a complete joke to our MC, who effortlessly blocks the incoming hit with crossed arms. Having had enough, Shang-xian delivers a swift, crushing blow to the thug's gut. To avoid wrecking his workplace, he immediately runs outside, perfectly baiting the angry gang into the back alley. Meanwhile, back inside, the staff tells Ji-hyun about the sudden brawl. Overhearing this, DJ Chow realizes how dangerous the situation is, and desperately rushes out to find them. Out in the alley, our boy takes a few fake hits to keep his cover. But just as he thinks the farce is over, the thug's eyes suddenly glow with a sinister light, and a terrifying mutation begins. In the dark alley, the bald thug is ready to finish our boy off. The DJ girl pushes the door open, only to be urged away by our bloodied hero. Before the thug can keep acting tough, he suddenly lets out an agonizing scream, dropping to his knees as if crushed by some invisible force. Swallowed by a terrifying dark power, the thug morphs into a hideous demon right before their eyes, leaving everyone frozen in pure shock. The corrupted monster goes totally berserk, sending the henchmen fleeing for their lives. Before our boy can react, the beast lunges straight at him. Just in the nick of time, the DJ girl drops in with a glowing artifact. Her epic entrance leaves our boy completely speechless. Shielding him, she reveals her true identity as a law mage. She warns him that this demon-possessed corruptor is far beyond what a normal human can handle. Without wasting another second, she expertly activates her magic array, summoning a massive lightning strike to crush the corrupted monster head-on. Our boy is stunned by her immense power. She tries to play it cool and tell him not to worry, completely unaware of the deadly strike approaching from the shadows. The demon's counterattack is impossibly fast. Its sharp claws pierce right through her body. As blood spatters, the situation instantly spirals into an absolute nightmare. Meanwhile, in a hidden room filled with weapons, a mysterious girl in a red cap sits quietly. The long, dark night has only just begun. Facing the overwhelming demon, despair sets in. Chow throws her magical weapon with all her might, but is completely crushed and left severely injured, while our boy is also knocked back. Just when everyone thinks it's the end, our boy finally stops hiding. His mysterious tattoos begin to glow as he stands up in absolute rage, his cold eyes showing he's done playing the coward. Under everyone's shocked gazes, our boy goes all out. He unleashes a devastating high-tier magic array, blasting the arrogant demon into oblivion with a torrent of blazing fire. After effortlessly dealing with the monster, our boy calmly lights a cigarette in the rainy ruins. Leaving the stunned Chow staring at his back, he quietly vanishes into the dark night. Following the chaotic night, our boy skips school for 3 straight days, leaving the class rep worried sick. But just as she's stressing out, he suddenly pops up with his usual flirty grin. Determined to get the truth about that night, the class rep corners him on the rooftop. Seeing our boy casually trying to smoke, she furiously dumps water over his head. Pressed for answers, our boy finally drops his playful act. Looking at the sunset, he reveals his painful past. His father's extreme life as a mage caused his mother's tragic death. Faced with Zihyun's questions, our boy finally spills the truth. His father's extreme training to make him the strongest mage led to an irreversible tragedy. Now, he just wants to live quietly like an invisible grain of sand to protect those around him. Looking at the sky, his eyes are filled with loneliness. He admits he's not suited to be a mage, and his only wish is for the people he cares about to live happy and safe lives. Hearing this heartfelt confession, Zihyun is stunned and asks if he's in love with her. Our boy instantly panics, frantically denying it and claiming he just doesn't want trouble, let alone daring to love the queen of the school. But Zihyun doesn't give up, warning him that rogue mages face harsh consequences or demonic hunting without joining the official Heavenly Association. Stubborn as ever, our boy yells back that he's fine hiding in the shadows, leaving her incredibly frustrated. Seeing they can't see eye to eye, our boy makes it crystal clear. He coldly states he's not the responsible type and refuses to ever use his law magic for their dangerous duties again. To completely draw the line, he suggests they cut ties for good. Hearing such harsh words, Zihyun holds back her tears and agrees. The two turn their backs and walk their separate ways. But who would have thought? Right after school, Zihyun catches our boy secretly following her. After just agreeing to cut ties, she furiously confronts him, only for him to calmly say she's overreacting. It turns out our boy just found a normal part-time job at a nearby convenience store. But to Zihyun's utter disbelief, the shop is located right in front of the highly dangerous Crystal Club. She is left completely speechless at his clueless confidence. Dealing with this stubborn and unpredictable guy is exhausting, but fate clearly won't let them part ways so easily. It seems the real trouble for these two has only just begun. To maintain his disguise, our boy works a boring part-time job at a convenience store, dealing with weird customers and endless checkout scans. A purple-haired guy walks in with a drunk girl. Surprisingly, our boy is completely mesmerized, thinking this player's wild lifestyle is the definition of cool. The very next day, the purple-haired guy shows up again. Just as our boy is about to say hi, he notices something is seriously off. The guy brought a different girl this time. Despite our boy's angry protests, the villain smugly walks away with her, leaving our hero fuming. Pretending not to care, our boy secretly tracks them down to a luxurious mansion and sneaks into the bedroom to save the day. But as he approaches the bed, the drunk girl suddenly sits up and pulls a blade on him. Turns out she's an undercover agent investigating the disappearances. Caught completely off guard, our boy frantically dodges her attacks while trying to explain he's here to help. But the real danger still lurks elsewhere. Following a strong phantom aura, our duo sneaks into the lawless zone. But before they can even get their bearings, a hidden lackey launches a deadly ambush. Brushing off the attack, they push deeper and finally confront the mastermind. It's a purple-haired psycho using dark magic to control innocent girls, instantly making their blood boil. But the serious mood doesn't last long. Seeing the villain surrounded by girls, our boy actually gets a nosebleed from jealousy. An annoyed Jihyun immediately smacks him back to reality. Hearing the psycho's endless taunts, our boy wipes his nose, his eyes turning cold. Muttering that villains always talk too much, he lands a flaming kick to clear the trash. The fight breaks out. The villain basically manipulates a brainwashed girl to ambush Jihyun. Thankfully, our boy reacts instantly, driving the attacker back with a flaming punch to protect her. Realizing how fierce our guy is, the coward grabs an innocent girl to use as a human shield. Forced to pull his punch, our boy has to endure the psycho's mocking. Seeing her partner restricted, Jihyun takes action. She throws her ring weapons, causing a massive explosion. Yet when the smoke clears, the unharmed villain calmly analyzes her magic system. Turns out this creep is a master of mind control. Not only does he torment the girls, but he also reaches out to brainwash our boy into becoming another puppet. Just as the villain's hand is about to touch him, our boy suddenly snaps his eyes open. That intense killing intent instantly freezes the psycho's smile. Our guy is officially done playing games. Our boy completely ignores the villain's proud psychological illusions, delivering a crushing counterpunch. Seeing the enemy spit blood, he coldly mocks their pathetic tricks. Driven to desperation, the villain tries one last counterattack. He pins our guy down and unleashes a devastating holy explosion, making Jihyun break into a cold sweat. As a mysterious girl observes from afar, our boy emerges from the explosion completely unscathed. He instantly turns the tables, pinning the villain's remaining illusions to the ground. With the illusion shattered, the heavily injured villain collapses. Our boy instantly returns to his goofy self, teasing the class rep before they smoothly hide to plan their escape. Right after they leave, the Chosen Society's cleanup crew takes over. They capture a corrupted suspect in the basement, who immediately drops to his knees begging for mercy. However, elite swordswoman Yumue has zero sympathy for corrupt scum. With a swift strike, she mercilessly beheads the target, hinting that this storm of purge has just begun. The next day, our boy is working at the convenience store while sporting some fresh bruises. Hearing about a hefty $50 tip, he instantly takes a delivery order to room 18. He and the class president track down the location, but right as he reaches for the handle, they realize the door is completely sealed by a mysterious barrier. Before Mue can draw her sword, our boy steps up and unleashes a massive burst of fiery energy, shattering the barrier entirely. Of course, he makes sure to brag about it right after. As the dust settles, the rumored ghost finally reveals itself. Expecting a vicious monster, our boy is totally caught off guard to find a crying cat-eared little girl bound by chains. His aggressive questioning instantly makes the poor girl burst into tears. Unable to stand it, the class president slaps him right in the face, telling him to stop scaring the kid. Though our guy suspects it's a demon's disguise, the girl calms down under the president's gentle comfort. Naming herself Sae, she softly explains she's just been locked here waiting for her dad to return. On a dark, rainy night, the tension hits freezing point. Seeing the pitiful little ghost huddled on the ground, Ji-hyun snaps, furiously questioning our boy's cold-hearted attitude. Our boy silently turns away, absorbing Ji-hyun's scolding. Protective of the little girl, she swears not to abandon her, and the two eventually strike a glowing deal to tackle this mess together. Right after school the next day, an anxious Ji-hyun wakes our sleeping boy. As she excitedly preaches about their duty, he just props his chin up, giving her a helpless but indulgent smile. To find clues about the girl's past, they hustle everywhere. Looking at the little ghost's innocent stick figure drawing of her family, their hearts sink. Before they know it, 5 whole days have slipped by. With only 2 days left, Ji-hyun frantically scours the web, tearing up over her instant noodles. Seeing her push herself so hard, our boy gently pats her head, reassuring her they've done their best. On day 6, Ji-hyun follows a new lead to a massive art school. She navigates to classroom 7, only to freeze at the door. Our boy is already there waiting with his earphones in. On the final 7th day, honoring Ji-hyun's earnest plea, our boy grabs his weapon and leaps into the deep night. He might complain about the hassle, but his sharp figure is clearly out for justice. Following the clues, our boy and his companions finally arrive at the old, mysterious building, their ultimate destination. Before heading inside, the blonde swordswoman gives him one last warning. As a law mage, he must never show mercy to dangerous phantoms. They step inside and bring the rescued ghost girl, Sae, to the father she has missed so dearly. Clutching her teddy bear, she calls out to him with pure joy. What should have been a touching reunion quickly turns sour. The moment the father sees her, he breaks into a cold sweat, backing away and screaming in denial. Tearful longing turns into pure rage. Remembering the fatal abuse she suffered alive, the girl's eyes glow a terrifying red as she unleashes her wrath to claim his life. Faced with his vengeful daughter, the scumbag father screams for help. Just in the nick of time, a fierce sword strike flashes out, stopping the rampaging spirit. It's the blonde swordswoman. Wielding her family's divine storm blade with zero hesitation, she strikes the girl down with a ruthless, water-infused slash. Ignoring her friend's tearful disbelief, she coldly declares that phantoms are born only to do evil. Raising her blade, she prepares to execute the final judgment on the roaring spirit. Facing the crying pink-haired girl, the blonde swordswoman shows no mercy. She coldly declares the end and raises her blade for the fatal strike. Just in the nick of time, our boy rushes in and blocks the strike. Guarding the girl behind him, he warns the swordswoman to back off. Our guy steps in because he knows her tragic past. Abused to death by her alcoholic father, the poor girl turned into a vengeful ghost out of sheer despair. Exhaling a puff of smoke, our boy firmly rejects her absolute justice. He simply cannot let this innocent child share the same cruel fate as her scumbag father. His words completely infuriate the swordswoman. Blaming him as an undisciplined rogue mage, she launches a fierce attack, leaving Ji-hyun utterly stunned by the explosive clash. Facing her final ultimatum to get out of the way, our boy doesn't back down. Igniting a fierce flame, he makes it clear that he won't yield a single inch. Shocked by his overwhelming power and mysterious law tattoos, the swordswoman realizes she underestimated him. But before she can process it, our boy launches a devastating counterattack. Refusing to back down, The golden-haired swordswoman unleashes her ultimate technique. But our boy doesn't dodge, taking the full brunt of the devastating slashes to protect what's behind him. To her, a corrupted spirit that harms humans must be executed, no matter its tragic past. Yet, even battered and bloodied, our boy firmly holds his ground, refusing to yield an inch. As the swordswoman prepares another strike, our boy fiercely shields his target again. Suddenly, the tormented girl embraces him from behind, tearfully begging him to stop risking his life for her. As memories of fleeting warmth and deep sorrow flash before her eyes, the little spirit realizes her time here is over. With a gentle whisper of gratitude, she finally makes her choice. Right before their shocked eyes, the girl's body begins to shatter into specks of light. Carrying hopes for a better next life, she finally finds her peace and vanishes into thin air. Seeing her finally free, our boy's tension instantly drops. He collapses to his knees, a single tear of pure relief rolling down his face as he silently wishes her well. However, the stubborn swordswoman completely misinterprets the scene. Furious, she believes he just destroyed an innocent soul and aggressively raises her blade to execute him on the spot. Facing the lethal downward strike, our exhausted boy doesn't even have the strength to dodge. He calmly closes his eyes, feeling zero regrets now that the girl is finally safe. Just a split second before disaster, flying blades perfectly deflect the lethal strike. Everyone turns in absolute shock to see the guild president making an epic, clutch entrance to save the day. Despite his terrifying power, our boy is no match for absolute strength. The sunglass-wearing chairman easily pins him down in the rubble, ending the chaos. When our boy wakes up, he finds himself on a hospital bed with his mouth taped shut. Seeing the smoking dude and the girls, he is utterly confused. The man casually lights a cigar and introduces himself. Turns out, he's the chairman of the Heavenly Law Association and the actual boss of these two girls. But our boy doesn't care about titles. He lunges forward and grabs the chairman's face. The whole room instantly turns into absolute chaos, making the girls facepalm. After some physical persuasion, our patched-up guy finally sits quietly on a bench. The chairman laughs heartily, teaching his disciples a lesson in manners. Getting down to business, the chairman hands over a file. He threatens to expose our boy's secret identity if he refuses to join, leaving him completely cornered. Later at a nightclub, before the chairman can even settle down, our guy suddenly starts ripping off his gear. This wild move stuns the boss. What crazy scheme will unfold next? Early in the morning, our boy Shangxian received an urgent call from the president. Before he could process the absurd news, an even bigger headache awaited him in class 2 days later. Armed with her family's sword, Yumue unexpectedly dropped in as the new teaching assistant. Watching her boss everyone around, Shangxian almost lost it, but Zihian quickly pulled him back, reminding him they were still in school. During the afternoon art class, Mue kept a close eye on Shangxian. Meanwhile, another classmate, Xiaohua, watched Zihian being surrounded by everyone. Her jealousy twisted into bitterness, and she eventually ran off alone with teary eyes. Returning home, Xiaohua completely broke down, unwilling to always be in Zihian's shadow. As she vented hysterically in front of the mirror, a bizarre mirror demon took advantage of her intense jealousy and possessed her body. The next morning, the possessed Xiaohua arrived in an incredibly flashy outfit, instantly shocking the whole class. Watching her smugly soak in the attention, Shangxian was completely baffled, barely even recognizing her. Faced with the teacher's strict scolding, Xiaohua suddenly went berserk, with a demonic silhouette faintly appearing behind her. Sensing the danger, our boy didn't hesitate for a second, instantly dashing forward to pin her arm down. The experienced Mue immediately recognized this as a mirror demon, a monster that preys on people's trauma. But before she could finish, the bizarre power silently invaded her, dragging her straight into the horrifying memories of her family's massacre. It wasn't just Mue. Even the usually unstoppable Shangxian fell for the trap, leaving both of them completely paralyzed in reality. With the obstacles removed, the possessed Xiaohua laughed maniacally and locked her eyes on the now defenseless Zihian. Inside the illusion, our class president is taking a brutal beating. Consumed by jealousy, her possessed classmate vents all her hatred, declaring the end of the so-called perfect student. Instead of breaking down, she simply smirks. Lifting her head with a chilling glare, she makes it clear that she's absolutely done playing the role of the good, obedient girl. As her true power awakens, her entire aura shifts. She coldly states that the only people allowed to trash-talk her are the monsters from her secret organization and our boy. Triggered by the ultimate disrespect, the possessed girl completely loses her mind. Emitting a chaotic dark aura, she screams hysterically, trying to mask her deep-rooted insecurities. But the president isn't holding back anymore. She lunges forward, delivering a devastating punch that slams her right into the ground. The sudden, brutal reversal leaves our boy and the onlookers absolutely speechless. Pinning her down, she mercilessly tears away the girl's fake facade. Broken both physically and mentally, the defeated classmate finally sheds tears, confessing that her actions were born from sheer jealousy. As the girl lets go of her obsession and finds her true self, the illusion crumbles. Realizing the host has regained her sanity, the bizarre mirror demon hiding within is finally forced to reveal itself. As the illusion finally crumbles, the demon's taunts still echo. The mysterious girl sheds a tear, struggling to accept that the comforting warmth she just felt was nothing more than a cruel trick. Meanwhile, Mue is trapped in her own agonizing memories. The heavy burden of her family and tragic fate threaten to break her, but as a proud sword woman, she refuses to bow to destiny. Unleashing her glowing blade, she shatters the fake reality. Cutting back to 20 minutes ago, Mue intercepts the mirror demon in the woods, fighting the mechanical monstrosity with pure, unfiltered killing intent. The scene suddenly shifts back to reality. After all that intense life-or-death battling, Mue and Jixian find themselves kicked out of class and punished to stand in the hallway. Just as they're dying of boredom, our boy steps out into the hall. Except, for some reason, he is completely shirtless, complaining about his stiff back and leaving the girls utterly speechless. Ignoring Mue's scolding, our guy casually suggests ditching school. Jixian happily agrees to go somewhere fun, but before she can finish, he bolts down the hall at full speed, leaving them shouting in his dust. What is he up to now? Meanwhile, the atmosphere in the Heavenly Association's command room drops to freezing. Facing the invasion of the 18th Hell, the president immediately convenes an emergency meeting. Based on the intel, the enemies are splitting up. To gain the upper hand, the president decisively orders his forces to divide and intercept the incoming threat. Cutting back to our boy, he's taking a stroll through an amusement park with his companion. They sit side by side, enjoying a rare moment of peace before the storm. Just as our boy feels a nagging sense of unease, the girl beside him suddenly blushes and gathers the courage to confess her deep feelings for him. However, the romantic vibe doesn't even last 2 seconds. Several terrifying glowing giant snakes suddenly smash through the cabin from above, catching them completely off guard. Accompanied by the hissing serpents, a purple-haired villain manipulating the toxic snakes makes his sinister entrance. It's obvious this guy is here specifically for our boy. The enemy has no intention of giving them a breather. In the midst of the villain's arrogant taunts, the giant snakes launch a brutal strike, firmly suppressing our boy. Seeing his companion brutally beaten down and coughing blood, our boy's eyes turn bloodshot. The villain's arrogant laughter pushes his fury past the breaking point. Meanwhile, President Ng anxiously monitors the chaotic battle through his screens. Biting down on his cigar, he quickly calls for backup and rushes toward the scene. Desperate to save her, our boy charges with a flaming fist. However, Yuzaru's giant phantom snake is just too fast, instantly coiling around him and trapping him tight. Drunk on his own power, Yuzaru arrogantly threatens to tear off our boy's remaining arm. To him, the injured hero is nothing but helpless prey. But he completely underestimates our boy's madness. Shangxian intentionally let himself get caught. Since he can't match the speed, he simply forces a point-blank confrontation. Catching Yuzaru off guard, our guy fights through the agonizing pain and launches a brutal counterattack, ruthlessly ripping off both of the villain's arms in one swift move. The tables turn in an instant. Severely mutilated and screaming in agony, the elite villain is completely broken, throwing a hysterical, bloody tantrum over his humiliation. Driven completely mad by rage, Yuzaru snarls viciously. He roars that even without his arms, he will physically tear this arrogant brat into pieces. With a bone-chilling hiss, Yuzaru unleashes all his dark power to reveal his terrifying giant snake form. Can our boy survive this overwhelming ultimate attack? Facing our boy's stubborn resistance, the villain unleashes his giant snake for a brutal constriction. Despite his desperate dodges, our boy gets tightly coiled, crushed by immense pressure while the villain laughs maniacally from above. Just as our guy struggles to hold on, the villain wickedly shifts his target. He violently wraps the giant snake around the innocent Jihyun, sadistically threatening to kill her if our boy dares to dodge again. Seeing his companion in mortal danger, our boy's eyes change completely. Even as his bones are nearly crushed by the snake, he pushes back with everything he has, swearing to protect Jihyun at all costs. Coughing up blood, our boy still pleads for Jihyun to escape. Watching him risk his life for her, Jihyun is heartbroken, recalling how this seemingly rebellious guy has always fiercely protected her. Filled with deep apology and gratitude, Jihyun's gaze turns resolute. Just as the villain thinks he has won, a terrifying force suddenly erupts from her body, leaving everyone completely stunned. It turns out our gentle class president has fully awakened. Dazzling purple lightning wildly gathers in her hands, with the overwhelming energy shattering the ground right beneath her feet. With a gentle smile, Jihyun warns our boy to take cover as thunderclouds swallow the sky. In the next second, an apocalyptic lightning bolt strikes down, mercilessly piercing the arrogant giant snake. Our boy is shocked by Jihyun's explosive magic. However, exhaustion catches up to them, giving the villain a perfect chance to mock his weakened state. Seeing Jihyun collapse from exhaustion, the villain sneers and unleashes a massive serpent, commanding the beast to dive straight at our guy. Desperate to protect him, Jihyun forces a divine lightning seal to counterattack. Her radiant blades fiercely slice the serpent, but something feels completely wrong. Jihyun is horrified to find her divine technique useless. Gloating, the villain commands the serpent to wrap tightly around our boy, convinced the victory is his. In a life-or-death moment, our boy throws himself over Jihyun, shielding her with his own body to absorb the serpent's devastating blow without hesitation. The serpent swallows its prey whole, but the villain's triumphant smile instantly vanishes. He panics wildly, realizing the beast didn't swallow Jihyun at all. Before the villain can figure out what happened, the arrogant serpent erupts in agonizing shrieks. It seems that mysterious meal is tearing it apart from the inside. Swallowed whole by the giant snake, our boy doesn't panic. Since its outer scales are impenetrable, he decides to unleash a devastating blast right from inside its unprotected mouth. With the grueling battle finally over, Jihyun bursts into tears. Seeing our boy so battered, she terrifiedly begs him to never pull such a reckless stunt again. Instead of comforting her, our boy plays it cool, brushing it off as his own choice. He even tries to lighten the mood by asking for a lighter, leaving her utterly speechless. Before they can even catch their breath, a bizarre, headphone-wearing monkey creature suddenly crashes down into the nearby ruins, putting them instantly back on high alert. The shadow reveals itself as a terrifying monster with glowing orbs. Before our boy can even process what's happening, the creature launches a lightning-fast ambush and sends him flying. Before our boy can regain his footing, two more mysterious figures arrive. Realizing these uninvited guests possess unfathomable power, his expression turns dead serious. The hot-headed pink-haired woman recklessly charges at the monster, only to be effortlessly crushed. Seeing her rendered completely helpless leaves our boy and Jihyun breaking out in a cold sweat. Having gathered the intelligence he needed, the purple-haired man loses interest in fighting. Ignoring the furious taunts, he casually waves goodbye and prepares to retreat with his monster. Seeing the mysterious group retreating, our boy sarcastically waves them off. However, he completely misses that a hidden watcher has locked her eyes on his black tattoo, setting the stage for an even bigger storm. Ing Baiwan is casually chatting on the phone when his secretary suddenly grabs him by the tie. Our wealthy boss is completely caught off guard by this unexpected aggression. He tries to calm her down with a hug, but a sudden phone call interrupts them. The shocking news from the other end instantly makes him break into a cold sweat. The secretary in his arm suddenly pulls a knife and stabs his shoulder. Hearing her eerie laugh, he finally realizes that this isn't reality, but a deadly illusion created by the enemy. Realizing he's trapped by the pink-haired illusionist, our boss simply smirks and lights his signature cigar. It's time to show the enemy what happens when you mess with the Heavenly Association. As the cigar burns, the overwhelming Samadhi true fire erupts, engulfing the illusion. Faced with this absolute power, the enemy's tricks are rendered completely useless, and she is blown away. 1 second he's acting tough, and the next he's crying over his burnt phone. He just lost all his precious contacts. His dramatic breakdown leaves the villain utterly confused. Just as things get awkward, the real secretary walks in, watching the farce coldly. The enemy's illusion controls the 5 senses, but against absolute power, it's just a cheap trick. Meanwhile, in the shadows, the mastermind Huang Quan is giving orders. He heavily suppresses the masked blonde assassin, exuding a cold and terrifying aura. Huang Quan demands absolute ruthlessness from his subordinates, completely disregarding their lives. To him, even Gu Shenghua's failure is just a minor sacrifice in his grand, sinister plan. Flashback to 15 years ago, a tragic massacre unfolds. Facing the ruthless mastermind Huang Quan, Mui's family desperately tries to escape, but they are brutally hunted down. Although Huang Quan is still hunting for survivors, young Mui barely escapes. Looking at her family photo, the pain of losing her parents and little brother overnight becomes an unhealing scar. Back to the present. Driven by revenge, Mui always masks herself with a cold exterior at school. That is, until she clashes with our boy, who sees right through her defenses. Our boy knows she's carrying too much weight. In the dead of night, they finally have a calm moment together. He asks why she's still so obsessed with uncovering the cruel truth after all these years. For Mui, that tragedy is a lingering nightmare. Holding her ancestral Galecarp sword, she views slaying demons as her sole belief, desperate for the power to overturn destiny. Hearing her deepest secrets, our boy drops his usual rebellious act. He gently tells her that while the past cannot be changed, what truly matters is that she still chose to be kind. However, this rare heartfelt moment is rudely interrupted by clueless demons. Our boy sighs, his eyes flashing red as he declares they'll finish the chat later. With perfect teamwork, they dive straight into battle. The battle instantly reaches a fever pitch. Mui fearlessly clashes with the formidable enemy. But just as the fight intensifies, with a sharp crack, her precious ancestral Galecarp sword shatters into pieces. Under the villain's relentless assault, Mui's inherited sword is shattered to pieces. Before our boy can even react, he gets brutally kicked away. Accompanied by maniacal laughter, the battle instantly turns into a one-sided slaughter. The absolute gap in power makes the villain even more arrogant. Seeing our boy's panic, he violently shoves his weapon into his mouth, silencing any chance of counterattack while mercilessly mocking their weakness. With a harsh crack, the villain ruthlessly snaps the broken blade. Watching Mui collapse and silently apologize to her murdered family, the light fades from our boy's eyes as his unwavering beliefs completely shatter. However, this brutal beatdown is just the tip of the iceberg. Hiding in the shadows nearby, a mysterious figure shrouded in digital noise coldly observes the chaos, slowly tightening an even darker web of conspiracy. Just when despair hits its peak, the dark-haired fighter nearby answers a mysterious call. The chilling intel from the other side changes everything. Huang Quan, the mastermind behind the ancient seal, has set his sights directly on our boy. Before the words even settle, a suffocating pressure engulfs the battlefield as the horned abyssal monster finally descends. Taking his orders, the dark-haired man turns to our boy. The true final boss has officially reached out for his prey. Facing the villain's arrogant pincer attack, our boy doesn't back down. Seeing Mui in danger, he loudly taunts them, successfully drawing all their aggro to himself. Just as the enemies are about to strike, a mysterious golden disc flies through the air. It brutally interrupts the attack and lands perfectly into our boy's mouth, leaving him utterly bewildered. Meanwhile, the villain who was busy reporting on his phone senses an extremely dangerous shift. He instantly descends into madness, drawing his blade and slashing wildly in a desperate frenzy. In a hidden room across the city, a mysterious girl in a baseball cap is staring at a wall of intel. It seems the fierce battle in this lawless zone has been under her surveillance all along. Back on the battlefield, the tide turns completely. The arrogant demon crumbles to pieces before it can even scream. The villain is left terrified as his proud blade shatters in an instant. A badass female agent has crashed the party. She instantly one-shots two elite phantoms from the 18th Hell. Her sheer, brutal power leaves even our seasoned boy totally stunned in disbelief. After casually defusing the deadly crisis, the cool agent calmly reports back to her superiors. Glancing at our battered boy with the disc still in his mouth, she quickly escorts everyone out of the danger zone. Behind the scenes, Guild Mastering takes a deep puff of his cigar. Despite the night's endless chaos, the wealthy commander is already prepared to clean up the massive mess left behind. After a brutal fight, Mui falls into deep trauma over her broken weapon. Seeing her so devastated leaves the whole team feeling incredibly heavy-hearted. Smoking a cigar, the president seriously analyzes the situation. They suspect Huang Quan is after the West Lake Seal, and the mere mention of an inside traitor makes the room tense. Just then, all eyes turn to our boy. Though his mysterious tattoos healed his fatal wounds, his teammates quickly notice that a tiny scratch on his face hasn't closed up at all. Sensing something is wrong, the president literally hangs our boy upside down to interrogate him. Outraged, our guy struggles wildly, yelling that the old man is an absolute creep. Finally free, our boy heads to the sink. Staring at his purple, unhealing wound in the mirror, he feels a creeping sense of unease, but stubbornly decides to just sleep it off. Meanwhile, the mastermind Huang Quan and his underlings quietly return to the ruined battlefield. Gripping a shattered blade, he smirks, seemingly confirming a deadly piece of intel. Meanwhile, the mastermind Phantom secures a mysterious glowing artifact. Standing alongside his henchmen, he arrogantly declares that he will use this absolute power to reshape the entire world. Back to our boy. Songyun and Jihyun are hanging out at the mall when Jihyun spots an adorable white puppy. Unfortunately, the astronomical price tag instantly brings them back to reality. Just as they try to figure out how to save up, the ultra-rich show-off Yang Gizyuk walks by. After flaunting his wealth, he casually approaches them with an arrogant smirk. Our guy and Jihyun are completely speechless at this blatant flex and try to brush him off. But Yang insists, practically begging to take them to a true paradise for the rich. 15 minutes later, Yang casually flies them to his exclusive yacht marina in a private helicopter. Seeing the lavish, party-filled deck, our boy is absolutely stunned by this ridiculous display of wealth. To flex his wealth, Director Yang brings our boy and the president to his private yacht. Seeing the wild party and the girls around, the two are left completely speechless. Enjoying their stunned reactions, Yang smugly swirls his wine. But our boy has zero interest in this flashy lifestyle, bluntly asking why they were brought here. Getting straight to the point, Yang reveals he knows they are law mages. Slapping down a massive check, he arrogantly claims his money can buy any intel in the world. Seeing Yang's arrogant attitude, and listening to him constantly brag about his endless wealth, our boy's anger is finally ignited. Fed up with this nouveau riche thinking he can do whatever he wants, our boy calls President Ing, ready to teach Yan a lesson using real capital power. Hilariously, due to severe traffic, the insanely wealthy president arrives riding a donkey. Despite the comical entrance, an absolute financial beatdown is about to begin. Facing the arrogant millionaire who tried to buy them out and target their friends, our boy ruthlessly pins him down. Meanwhile, President Ing finally grasps the absurdity of the situation. Despite being pinned, Yang continues boasting about his invincible wealth. Hearing this naive flex, the true master of wealth just smirks and makes a devastating phone call. With a single command, President Ing launches an absolute financial wipeout. In the blink of an eye, the villain's prized yachts and resorts are either seized or blown to pieces. Watching his empire turn to ash, Yang screams in sheer terror. Stepping through the flames, the president's terrifying aura completely crushes the villain's psychological defenses. The transfer confirmation hits like a truck, and a cold blade rests on his neck. In mere minutes, the once arrogant billionaire is reduced to an absolute pauper. To extract crucial intel, the president uses Yang's remaining properties as hostages. When the stubborn villain keeps yelling, Ing ruthlessly orders another round of bombardments. Deafening explosions instantly reduce 9 mansions to rubble. Shoving the target screen into Yang's face, the president coldly delivers his final ultimatum. Will he finally break and spill the secrets? Running out of patience, the president points his gun straight at Director Yang, starting a countdown. Under the crushing pressure of our boy and the team, the battered informant finally snaps, screaming that he's already confessed everything. It turns out this arrogant billionaire has been using his wealth to trade dirty intel with demons. He naively thought money could buy him power and respect. Hearing this delusional rant, the president just rubs his eye in frustration. After tearing down Yang's pathetic vanity, the president wastes no more time. Summoning a blazing sphere of energy in his hand, his gaze turns deadly, as he demands the real intel, the truth behind the massacre from 15 years ago. Terrified by the lethal fireball, Yang sweats profusely, swearing he knows nothing. He admits that after 2 law mage families were attacked by mysterious phantoms back then, everyone involved vanished without a trace. This heavy revelation leaves even the president stunned. While our crew searches for clues, the true mastermind, Underworld, has already gathered his demonic followers in the shadows. Plotting their next move, a chilling promise of blood for blood signals an impending storm. Meanwhile, our blonde sword woman sits alone in a dim corridor, carrying the weight of her tragic past. Staring silently at a family photo from 15 years ago, those once warm memories now only bring her endless sorrow and longing. In a deeply suppressing childhood memory, young children desperately sought their cult father's approval, hinting at a twisted obsession that still lingers in the present. The vibe shifts back to reality. A pedigree dog has become the guild's new favorite, and even the enigmatic master is enjoying some rare yacht downtime. However, peace never lasts long. While our boy bickers with his teammate, the clueless dog starts aggressively pulling a girl's clothes, throwing the base into chaos. Seeing the dog get completely out of hand, Mue steps in, ruthlessly pinning the troublemaker down with one foot. Her fierce aura instantly silences the room. After the chaos, it's back to business. To fix Mue's damaged sword, the boss mercilessly forces the errand of finding a mysterious blacksmith onto our deeply reluctant boy. Grumbling about the tedious errand, our boy aggressively interrogates a weird blonde old man, only to shockingly realize this scruffy guy is the legendary craftsman Cheon Sanjiam himself. Seeing the old man's sloppy work attitude, our boy couldn't help but mock him, and their fiery tempers instantly clashed into a heated argument. Our guy was never one to hold back. He directly grabbed the old man by the collar, nearly tearing him apart until the president rushed in to furiously stop the chaos. Seeing our boy completely confused, the president sighed in frustration and patiently started explaining the old man's true, hidden identity. It turns out the old man is an extremely rare holy mage. Though not fighters, they are the creators of all magical artifacts, with only 6 left in the entire world. Learning that this ordinary-looking elder was the guild's only national treasure-level supporter, our boy broke into a cold sweat, finally realizing the massive trouble he almost caused. To test the old man's skills, our boy presented Mue's broken sword. Initially dismissive, the elder completely lost his cool the moment he heard the name Stormcarp's sword. The same stubborn elder who just refused to work suddenly had his eyes lit up. He completely changed his attitude and begged to fix the sword, leaving everyone utterly dumbfounded. The excited elder explained that this sword wasn't just a 1,000-year-old demon-slaying artifact, but it also shared a deep, fateful connection with his own master's lineage. To repair the ancient sword, the old mage decides to personally head to the mysterious mountains. Our boy, who is just minding his own business, is shocked when the president assigns him as the bodyguard. The next day, they board the bus heading to their destination. To kill time during the long ride, our boy and the old man start bickering fiercely over the most trivial things. Sweating profusely under the old man's relentless mockery, our boy fights back by acting smug, loudly emphasizing his crucial role as the bodyguard just to gain the upper hand. Amidst the noise, our boy notices his companion looking rather troubled. She forces a faint, melancholic smile and gently reminds him to make sure the old man stays safe. As the bus prepares to depart, our boy's eyes widen in absolute shock. He just realized that the little ghost girl secretly snuck onto the ride, hiding a puppy in her bag. Meanwhile, the class president asks the boss for advice regarding her hidden potential. Enlightened by his sharp insights, she excitedly runs off to make a call to arrange some special training. Watching her go, the boss takes a puff of his cigar with a meaningful sigh. Back on the driving bus, our boy is still arguing, completely unaware of the true danger waiting deep in the mountains. In the pouring rain, the cigar-smoking president fiercely confronts a mysterious enemy. Meanwhile, our boy grips his spear, reflecting on his dark, suffocating past. The scene shifts to a corrupt rich guy enjoying a cozy moment in bed. However, his relaxing vibe is shattered when the door is suddenly pushed open. Before he can even react, a gleaming knife is stabbed aggressively into the nightstand. The sudden death threat makes him jolt up, completely drenched in cold sweat. It turns out Jixian is the one crashing the party. Watching the rich guy force a nervous laugh, she glares at him with absolute, icy resolve. To force the truth out, they video call the president. Faced with overwhelming financial ruin and a literal knife to his throat, the once arrogant guy instantly breaks down. Completely cornered, he doesn't dare hide anything anymore. Jixian wastes no time, fiercely interrogating him about how to break the seal at the bottom of the lake. Under their intense pressure, he finally spills the beans. It turns out the mastermind, Huangquan, plans to dive into the lake to break an ancient magical seal. He confesses that Huangquan wants to claim the abyss's power. To open that ancient vault, he must gather a mythical compass embedded with the 5 elements. Hearing this, our bruised boy can't help but frown deeply. Since the enemy is already hunting down the elements, the ultimate battle is clearly about to begin. The mastermind is trying to use the compass to break the ancient seal. The crew realizes that to stop this doomsday plot, gathering the 5 elements is the key. They figure out that our boy's power represents metal, the chairman's fire is fire, and the heirloom sword is water. Now, only earth and wood remain missing. Just as they are at a loss, Xiao Kan, the ruthless executioner from the 18th hell, appears, casually revealing the missing earth element or in his hand. Xiao Kan arrogantly claims he's only here to take the final wood element. Without warning, he swings his massive polearm, instantly causing a devastating explosion. Facing such a deadly foe, our allies summon a giant spirit beast to counterattack. The roaring monster lunges at Shiokan, trying to carve out a path to survival. The beast tears up the ground for a fatal strike. But instantly, a swift blade flash slashes the monster open, sending blood flying. The true gap in power is finally laid bare. The masked executioner boasts about his terrifying underworld power as the battle reaches a fever pitch, but just then, his figure suddenly distorts and shatters like a glitching signal. The intense projection abruptly ends, with the mysterious arms dealer Layla cheerfully saying goodbye. Left alone in her weapon-filled room, our battered boy sits in stunned silence, trying to process the shocking intel.